Pikmin 3. Pikmin is a series that I've heard great things about for a long time, but never really gave it a fair shot. After seeing so much praise for the series from its fans over the years, I can't say that I wasn't intrigued to try it. The only problem was that the games were not available for any of the platforms that I owned, so when Pikmin 3 Deluxe released for the Switch, I thought it was finally time to check this series out. And I gotta say, I was quite surprised with how unique the game was and how much I liked it. So in this video, I'll tell you my thoughts on Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Let's go! After starting the game, the first thing that caught my eye was the super cute cartoony art style and the beautiful creature designs. The premise of the game is pretty straightforward. Our three main characters, Alf, Brittany and Charlie, are sent to planet PNF 404 in search of edible matter so they can save their starving planet Kopai from extinction. But as they approach the atmosphere of the planet, their ship, the SS Drake, malfunctions and ejects the three of them before crashing on the surface. Alf wakes up and discovers these small creatures called Pikmin, which he quickly uses to find food and find the parts to fix the ship so he and his crewmates can go home. Along the way, they face many challenges and fight many dangerous creatures. Later in the game, they start searching for Captain Olimar, who I believe is the main protagonist of the first two games. They believe that he has the cosmic drive key, which they need to go back to their home planet. Story is nothing special, but it's enough to keep you engaged for the whole game and make you care about the safety of our three main characters. Pikmin 3 is a real-time strategy puzzle game. Controls are very simple and easy to remember. At the start, your objective is to grow your Pikmin army by collecting flowers and defeating other creatures. Carrying them back to the onion will spawn more Pikmin that will join your team after you plug them out of the ground. You can get a ton of Pikmin very quickly by defeating bigger creatures and keep your team safe from drowning or burning. You'll also lose your Pikmin if you don't have them in your squad or in reserve by the end of the day. You can have 100 Pikmin in your team at once. There are 5 elements of Pikmin and they all have different abilities and weaknesses. Red Pikmin can resist fire. Rock Pikmin are hard, so they are good at breaking glass surfaces and shells on the enemies. Yellow Pikmin can resist lightning, but they are also good at digging and can be thrown a bit higher. Blue Pikmin can go underwater without dying, and Wing Pikmin can fly and reach flying enemies. Make sure you don't put too many of a single type of Pikmin on the field at once. 15 of each element is more than sufficient for any level. It's a good idea to send the Pikmin type that you already have a sufficient number of back to the onion, so there is not too much of the same type in your team. You can divide your Pikmin between each of the 3 leaders and send them each on different tasks for maximum efficiency of your time. Though managing 3 separate leaders plus the different types of Pikmin all can get a bit overwhelming sometimes. Pikmin is also a time management game. It's necessary to do your tasks quickly, otherwise the day will end and you'll go back to where you started. Spending a day consumes a bottle of fruit juice. The fruits are your main source of nutrition in this game. You can collect them while exploring the levels. There are multiple fruits that can be found across the map. You should try to get a lot of fruits early in game so you don't have to worry about it later. You should usually spend around 2 or 3 days to complete an area. One day for exploring, learning the map layout and unlocking shortcuts, and other days for completing the objectives and doing the boss fights. Though there is a time limit, the game never feels challenging or intense. And on normal difficulty, I would say it even feels relaxing to play when you're exploring and solving puzzles without the worry of losing your Pikmin. There are 5 areas in the game and all of them are fun to explore. You can revisit any of the areas that you have previously explored and choose which exact day you want to replay. You can basically revisit any part of the game that you have previously finished, and you can replay any of the boss fights whenever you wish. I love it when games let you do that. Makes recording footage for videos so much easier. There are also 2 extra side stories that you can play. Olimar's Assignment, which unlocks after completing the second area, and Olimar's Comeback, which unlocks after you beat the game. They are basically time challenges that are set in the same areas that you explored in the base game. Both combined are about 4 hours long and is a decent bonus after completing the main story. The whole game can also be played in split screen co-op, which is great if you have a friend to play with. Overall, the gameplay is simple but still very engaging and fun. I really have no complaints. Pikmin 3 looks amazing. The world is full of beautiful nature, lush landscapes with weird but fascinating wildlife, and everything is very vibrant and colorful. Sadly, the visuals don't reach their full potential due to the resolution and frame rate being locked at 720p 30fps on Switch. Which is a shame because the game would have really benefited from running smoother and having more clarity, since there are so many easy to miss details on the levels. The fruits look so good though. These are some of the best fruit models I've seen in games. Just mouth-watering. The soundtrack is very subtle and atmospheric when you're exploring, but can be just as intense when you engage in combat. The tracks used in the boss fights are specially tight, just really good stuff. There is no voice acting in the game, the characters just make these silly grunts which are good enough. The Pikmin also make this really cute sound whenever you throw them. Just adorable. The game does feel a bit short, which is probably my biggest issue with it. However, I would say that it has good replay value, with higher difficulty options being present if you want more challenge. There are also some nitpicks of mine, like the lock-on system which is not very precise with the analog controls. Plucking out a ton of Pikmin can be a bit of a drag, and the final mission was somewhat annoying. Other than that, I loved Pikmin 3 very much, easily one of the most unique experiences on the system, and I would say one of the most underrated Nintendo games. I would love it if they also remastered the first two games for the Switch, or even release a new one. In this generation hopefully. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, then hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you didn't, then hit the dislike button and tell me in the comments what you didn't like so I can improve that. Also, have you played Pikmin 3? If you did, then what did you think about it? Tell me in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.